Everybody, Andy here again, down in the woods, having a wander around on this lovely day. It's always a good place to come and vlog. I've noticed that walking around here tends to inspire me to think about things as I'm walking along, because it's always so nice and quiet. I don't know if you can hear, if I shut up for a bit myself. Whether you can hear the birds singing and there's an aeroplane going high above. But anyway, one of the things I was going to talk about was a debate that's been happening here in the UK recently about the internet and TV generally, and how young people, especially girls, are being, let's say, corrupted. Maybe that's not quite the right word, but made to feel a bit more sexually sort of knowing at a younger age, should we say. I remember when I was a lad, and girls of that type of time, things seem to have changed so much. We've all seen, I've got a daughter who's recently turned 16, so I've got some idea of that, and I know how she is and what she watches on the TV and the way she is, the way she dresses, the sort of makeup, etc. You know, excuse me, let's keep doing this, it's a bit dangerous. I have to watch where I'm going, so if I disappear it's because I've fallen over. And I've noticed how she is, and my wife relates how she was at that time, and the difference. And I saw a tweet last night actually, on Twitter, saying that if the new Lady Gaga video was shown to some people back in 1979, a little bit of time travel if you could do it, if it was done, what would they think? Well, personally, I think they'd be absolutely horrified. If you haven't seen that video, I tried to avoid it, but I thought, well, let's go and have a look and see what the fuss is about. And even I, to be perfectly honest, a little bit shocked, and I'm thinking, what on earth, you know, this raises lots of different questions, because, and as it ties in with something that I read in an article in a magazine, a music magazine that I subscribe to, excuse me, and that was talking about how sort of sex arrived into rock and roll from a female point of view, not from a male point of view. We don't want to keep going over all that side of things again, because rock and roll has always been generally a male-dominated thing. But the women came along in the sort of mid-70s and stamped their own authority on it. And the band that they were talking about in particular in this particular article was the Runaways. Now, anyone who remembers them, especially in America, were quite a big band. Joan Jett, Cherry Curry, Lita Ford, people like Sandy Weston, the other one whose name I can't remember. But I remember them from the mid-70s because I was about 18 myself, so I was a young male, and they sort of made me sit up and think and watch and take notice, I suppose. But they were saying that they think that they were the first people to actually really exploit that, and then the punk thing came along, but the Runaways certainly exploited and maybe brought along the female aspect of the punk revolution, which is one of those things that people like Patti Smith came along. I know she was a little bit older, but they came along and changed things a little bit. They weren't afraid to express their sexuality. They weren't either physically or even verbally as well in the lyrics, etc. The tone of the lyrics changed and all that. And that was a step change. But even so, I mean, there weren't videos then, but even if there had been, what would they have been like? Would they be as explicit as the videos that you see nowadays? And that's been the whole point of the sort of debate that's been going on over here. Some videos are worse than others. Some genres of music seem to be worse than others. We all see sort of thing my daughter watches. She watches what we would now class as R&B music. Not the R&B of my youth, but the new sort of R&B. No, I'm not knocking it. And the rap music and that, and the videos tend to be that sort of sexploitation with women portrayed in a certain way, especially when the rappers or whatever, or the performers, are male. But then you look at it from another point of view, and you look at the people like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, who I mentioned, who are doing their own videos, and they are exploiting themselves. Now, this has changed. It's come along here. This has changed completely because the weather we've had. But digressing. So there's that sort of debate there. You say if you watch the Lady Gaga video, the new one, I mean, she wrote it, or co-wrote it. I think she co-directed it. She stars in it, so there's no doubt that she's doing what she wants to do there. So is she exploiting her own sex, or is she just stamping on her authority and saying, this is me, this is what I want to do, this is real sexual liberation? And I'd love to know what people think about this. But then you get to the point from a parent's point of view, and you see this sort of stuff on the TV day in, day out. And we're not talking what we class it. I mean, I'm not really sure what it's like in America. It could be, you tend to be, without being nasty, a little bit more prudish, shall we say, on some of these things to what we are over here. We certainly get away with more in Europe, and certainly in the UK, than you certainly might do in America. But I don't know. I have seen obviously American TV when I've been over there, but I can't remember too much about that side of it. So I'd love to know what it is like, whether you're allowed to watch these videos, whether they are only shown at certain times. Over here, 24/7, you can watch these type of videos, and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, dear oh dear, is this right? You know, should women be portrayed in that way? I was grown up, sort of brought up to be a respecter of women, and I am, you know. And then you see what can only be, I look at and think of exploitation. But then, as I said, the women are doing it themselves. So is it wrong? Is it all right for women to do it and not men to do it? Maybe that's another question altogether. But it brings up that whole debate: should the children be seeing this type of thing? It's all right if Lady Gaga wants to flash her bits all over the place in front of everybody, but that tends to exploit in some ways the teenagers, my daughter or something, who may feel that they need to compete with that. Men see that type of thing, especially men of their own, her own age, the sort of teenage boys that she's at school with, will probably start going out with and becoming boyfriends with. Are they expecting her to be the same type of person? Are they expecting her and her friends and the people of her age group to be that same way, that they can then be exploited? And this is one of the things that apparently they found in surveys and things, is that men, like young adults, teenagers, they ask the males, and that's the way they tend to think now. They treat women in a different way. So a whole debate here, and one that could probably go on and on and on. I think this is a serious topic because I don't like censorship. I never have liked censorship, and as I said, I'm all for people for sort of sexual freedom and all that, don't get me wrong. And if women are exploiting in inverted commas themselves, is that necessarily a bad thing? As I said, they're asserting their own sexuality and saying, I can do this, this is me, I can do what I want. And I can't, can't really argue with that. But then there's the other side, it's the effects, it's the cause and effects type of thing. And I see the effects of it now, and how some people would say it's corrupting the younger people. That you see it with younger daughters or whatever. Look at the Miley Cyruses of this world. I can't remember how old she is, but when she started, she's encouraging, not knocking her again, but as an example, you can see other girls trying to, sort of early teens, growing up in the same way, dressing the same way, wearing the makeup, being more provocative than what girls of that age were. This is progress. I totally accept that, and as I said, I'm not knocking. I'm up really just sort of saying this, putting some thoughts and ideas out there, talking on top of my head a bit, and just seeing what other people think, whether my thoughts are the same as other people. Should we be worried by all this thing, or is it just progression? It's just the way that we go on, evolution, if you want to put it that way. Is it the way that things are? And alternatively, should be maybe some of these videos, maybe we should be knocking them back, should be not censoring them, but maybe not be allowing them to be seen at certain times of the day, so that they aren't seen for just about everybody. Because we go on about the internet, and certain people go on about the internet and how it's corrupting people because you can find sex at the click of a mouse or something like that. Sometimes on the internet, generally, you have to put some effort into it to find those porn links or whatever. You know, if you don't go to the BBC website, it's not there. You have to go away from it. Yes, it can be easy. I know you only have to put the wrong word into Google or something, and you can end up with something that you wouldn't want other people to see. But on the TV channels, all you have to do is turn the TV on to a certain channel, and there it is in front of you. It might not be porn, but it could be porn light, if you want to put it that way. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I've probably spoken for far too long, and my arm's aching by holding this camera up, and it is rather nice around here. So I'm going to carry on walking, enjoy the surroundings, and see how much water there is around, because the wet winter and spring and autumn that we had seems to have really changed here, because I haven't been here for a while. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, what your ideas are, especially if you're a mother, or maybe you are one of those young girls that I'm talking about here. Maybe if you watch my videos, maybe you've got some points of view on that, and any young men, what do they think as well? Anyway, thanks very much. I'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye.